Okay, so today we're going to continue with our English lessons, and I'm going to have you start with the sentence, Greg has a bad frog. So you're going to say that to each other, and then whoever's not saying that sentence will respond, bummer. And if you don't know what bummer is, it's just another way, it's slang for that's too bad, or effectively, I'm sorry for that, or something of that sort. That's not very good. So go ahead and do that, and I'll give you some time to work that out together. Here, I'll write this sentence on the board for you. Greg has a bad frog.
Greg has a bad frog.
Bummer.
Good. All right, now switch roles.
Eve has a bad frog.
Bummer. That's not what you're supposed to say.
Okay, so one more time, just try to say it again. And we're emphasizing the last part of the words here, so make sure you're getting this one, all of those letters in.
Greg has a bad frog.
Go ahead.
Greg has a bad frog.
Bummer.
Bummer.
Okay, so the sentence doesn't really make a lot of sense, but what we're getting from that is I want to know if that was hard for you to say. Like thinking back, is it hard for you to pronounce all of those words together?
Yes.
Why was it hard for you, Mary?
Because the endings don't feel natural.
Because they're like this g, or in the has, bad, and frog?
Yes.
Okay, so those are consonants. And then Casey, what about for you? Was it difficult for you?
No, I think it's easy to say.
You think it was easy to say?
Mhm.
All right, so there's kind of different levels here, but we're gonna keep going, and I think as natural Asian Mandarin speakers, it's kind of the tendency to have issues with these endings of words. What do you think that these letters, so let me write these on the board for you. We've got D, B, G, V, and Z. What are those letters initially, what do you think that they have in common?
They're all consonants.
They're all consonants, they're all letters. Okay, also along with that, they're all consonants that are voiced. And so we're gonna go over what voiced means in a consonant. So if you can put your fingers right here. So it's on your throat or your Adam's apple if you're a guy. Make the B sound for B.
But.
B. You feel how this moves?
Mm-hmm.
B. Okay, so try D. D.
Duh.
D.
Duh.
And does it move for D? All right. Now what about T? T. It doesn't move, right? Okay, now try Z. Z.
Z.
Z.
Z.
Z.
And it moves. And G. G. G.
Good.
G.
Good.
All right. So in all of these letters, you feel movement in your throat, right? When you say it. So that's how you tell if it's voiced or unvoiced. And all of these are voiced. For example, there are other consonants, S or P. Those don't have any sound because your voice is not moving right here. And those consonants are generally harder. So in your case, your words a lot of times end with vowel sounds or soft consonants. So putting these at the end is generally harder. So it's just, this is a lesson to get you thinking about putting these at the end of words and making sure they're in there so that when you're speaking to a native English speaker or a natural English speaker that they can understand your pronunciation of things. Cool? Okay, so we're going to move into a couple activities. I'm going to hand you out a worksheet, which I actually did. And the worksheet just describes all the attributes that you're going to see on the outside. So when you make the D, G, all of those sounds that you're going to, what you see in a mirror, what you feel inside your mouth. So using your tongue or your teeth or your cheeks to make space in your mouth for the sound, and also what you feel. So tonight, I want you to kind of practice that. So use a mirror, use your hand to feel, and practice these sounds and use them in words. And I think that'll give you a good jump start after today's lesson. All right, so I'm gonna have you create one sentence or a combination of two, And you're going to use all of these consonants. So just like this sentence, they're at the end here. This is has, obviously it's not a Z, but how would you say this word for me?
Has.
How would you say this word?
Has.
Well, in the English language, generally we pronounce that as has. So
Has.
Greg has, which is essentially this sound, right? Okay, so when you're writing your sentence, just know you can use a word that has an S, but sounds like a Z. And if you need help deciphering that, just raise your hand, ask me, and I can say, yes, that does actually sound like a Z, or it is actually an S. So the assignment is going to be to write sentences, and you're going to use one sentence or two sentences that go together, and you're going to use all of these letters at the end of one word or another. Does that make sense? Do you have any questions?
They all have to be at the end of a word.
Right.
Okay.
They all have to be at the end of a word. So that's why I'm giving you 1 to 2 sentences, because sometimes it's hard to come up with that in just one. So I'm going to give you an example. Well, I'll let you start and then give you a minute. And go ahead.
Does the sentence have to make sense?
It has to, it can't just be random words.
Okay.
So it has to have a flow, a verb, a subject, an object. It does have to flow, but it doesn't have to make all kinds of sense. It doesn't have to be super logical. You can use fun words too, just real words. So go ahead. I'm going to let you go ahead. I'm going to give you 5 minutes. Halfway through, I'll give you an example if you're struggling. All right, go ahead. So I'm going to write an example on the board, just so you have an idea. Okay, so I'm just going to read this sentence to you. It's, my dog, Lizard, was big and hairy. He needed a shave in the summer. Okay, so I've used all of these here. I used, it's an S, again, use it as a Z. So just to, if you are struggling with any words or sentences, I'm going to keep going. Anyway, very good, very good. All right, so let's stop, and I'm going to have you say your sentences to each other. And actually, even before that, if you want to practice your sentence on your own, just so you can practice, because I'm going to actually record you on my phone here and play it back for you, and also do a small assessment on it. So nothing to freak out about, just so you can hear yourself and what that sounds like.
When I leave the dog out of his cage, my dad wants me to make sure the crab is safe in his own cage.
Awesome. Keith, go ahead.
Caleb went to the zoo and saw a leopard eat a groundhog. He began to quiz his mother about why. Awesome.
Okay, so I'm going to come and record you so that you can hear yourselves. And if I can find my record button. Okay. All right, Mary, you go ahead.
When I leave the dog out of his cage, my dad wants me to make sure the crab is safe in his own cage.
Great. Okay, so let me play that back for you. Awesome. So really good. Way to use and emphasize even the last consonants that are voiced so that they make sense and are audible. And I think it'll get easier as you go. So we'll do Casey. Go ahead.
Caleb went to the zoo and saw a leopard eat a groundhog. He began to quiz his mother about why.
Okay. Let me get back to yours. Okay. Awesome. Okay, so really great job, guys. I think you're getting the hang of it, and I think I'm gonna do some feedback, and I'll give you some tips on why that will help you, and I'll write it down this evening and give it back to you tomorrow. But I'm gonna leave you with homework. So like I said, take that paper that I gave you guys and take it home. Practice with your mirror. If you don't have a mirror, let me know. I'll send you with one. And practice feeling your voice when you say consonants and specific words that you might struggle with. Maybe these aren't the hardest letters for you or the hardest sounds. So take your hardest sounds and feel what your neck and your throat feels like when you're speaking it and what your mouth is doing. And a lot of times that helps to visualize what your sounds look like.